Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Oh, hello. What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Wednesday, April 30th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's the podcast before the major podcast, I guess you would say, right? Going to do the Oaks today. Should be fun. Great Friday card. You know, the cards, Friday has like maybe the betting isn't great. I mean, maybe you can get around a couple of favorites, but overall it's like superstars, where Saturday is like, whoa, right?
That's just it. Like, people don't, obviously the Derby and the Oaks take all the attention and, for good reason, but there's so many undercard races that have, whether it be, Fierceness making his return and, what's he going to do? And then Nisos and what's he going to be like? And oh, by the way, the defending horse of the year, Torpedo Anna, she's racing on the undercard. And so you just have like just one after another. You got top turf horses, it's always good, but this year it feels like it legitimately is going to live up, I hope, to kind of what at least the billing looks like.
It feels that way for sure, right? We'll see, though. It's a horse race, so some of them live up to it and some of them don't. So we'll have to see how that goes. We're always going to be shocked by things. We're always going to, have head scratchers. I'm sure that'll happen. But yeah, look, I mean, I think these 2 days are so special, and the undercards need to support how special the 2 days are, and they do. Right. And so that's the fun part about it. You don't want to have two special races like this and you look at the rest of them and go, it is what it is. Like, no, every race that's a stakes race is going to be fun. And there's even some allowances and some maidens, whether it be for comedy purposes or betting purposes, that'll be fun as well. So I can't get over, like you asked John about Patch Adams. It's like, that'd be hilarious to watch Patch Adams race 13 on Saturday, so anyway,
that's always like that, and it's such an unfortunate race that we have. Why do we have races after the Kentucky Derby? Because it's like you don't even care at that point, right? Whether you win, loss, you're ecstatic about whatever happened. Like how even the jockeys are like half the time you see half of them, it's like, oh, we're busy, you don't want to mess with it. So it's like it's always weird to me that we have two races after the Derby. But hey, we get to see Patch Adams. So there's that.
Yeah.
So a couple of housekeeping items, guys, before we get going here. Obviously, this is the Kentucky Oaks Blinkers Off. So this is going to be dedicated to the Kentucky Oaks. Obviously, if you have Derby questions, we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. The Kentucky Derby podcast will happen tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Blinkers Off. We kind of wanted to dedicate two separate shows, and the betting Bible just was released. The official betting Bible was just released a little over an hour ago on the website at racingdudes.com. So if you've been waiting for that, if you've purchased it already, you just go to the dashboard. It's in there, 23 pages, covers all the Oaks and Derby card. Again, it's available now. So if you're going to go get it, start taking a look at that, start handicapping, now is the time. Also, this is the last day to become a premium subscriber and be entered to win that $1,000 on Derby Day. So we're going to tomorrow's podcast. So once we schedule that show and you see the time, Halterman probably, an hour or so before the show, he's going to pull the list of subscribers and that's it. So as long as you get in, subscribe before that, you'll be automatically entered to win $1,000. That's all you do is you just got to be a premium subscriber over at racingdudes.com and for a chance to win $1,000. So the list will be announced. The top 20 will be announced on tomorrow's show, and then on Derby Day we'll run the race.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, should be fun to pull it out. That was loaded. Should be fun to pull out the subscriber list and see who gets in to the race. So the draw is tomorrow, essentially, and then the race is Saturday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the draw will be tomorrow. We'll see who gets the rail. Although the rail is not as important in our Derby as the normal rail. But
run a straight line.
It's flat racing. So that's all. Yeah. All we're doing is we're taking 20 random people, 20 subscribers out of the list of subscribers, Those 20 will be entered to run. It's basically a randomizer, but it's fun to watch because you put them in a horse race and they go back and forth, and then at the end there's a winner, and that winner will win $1,000 on Saturday morning on Derby Day. So it's gonna be fun. It's no strings attached. It's just that simple. So if you're looking to become a subscriber, oh, by the way, you get the betting Bible of the Derby and the Oaks for free, as well as the Preakness betting Bible, because it'll fall in that first 30 days. So you get those betting Bibles for free, plus enter to win. So it's a good opportunity to get in on that. But again, this will be dedicated to the Kentucky Oaks. So let's not waste anyone's time. Let's get right to the handicapping. Friday's $1.5 million Longines Kentucky Oaks at Churchill Downs. Who will win America's biggest filly race of the year? Good cheer. Will she back up the low odds, or will somebody hand her first loss? You'll find out right now. Let's go. I was interested in yours, Halterman, because I know we had talked, and when I saw the betting Bible, I was like, oh wow, he changed his opinion a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit. I'll let you discuss, but yeah, that was I know that you had kind of gone back and forth on that one.
Yeah, the setup was a little too much for me. Like the setup for one horse in particular is going to be pretty good, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I was similar idea. I mean, I think it's interesting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the year of Justify, Monomoy Girl, and kind of feels like those, it's like those two are the horses to beat, and can they be beat, and will you be able to make money if you do, and trying to figure out who that one is. And so, two very clear favorites, and deservingly favorites at that. And, we've seen it in the past, even that year, the Monomoy Girl to Justify double paid very well. So I'm hoping that even though they are clear favorites, because there are a lot, especially in the Derby, a lot of opportunity, a lot of different options that I know a lot of people are gravitating to already, that maybe it will still keep that payout okay.
It's 14 horses into 20 horses. Anytime it's that, it's going to help a lot. That money will spread out some. So, it probably won't be great. If you're going to play that double, you probably can't play too many horses with them. One maybe from each or two, but yeah. Paying $6 right now. Is that for $1 there, Curtis? Because if it is, I mean, that's, not bad.
Yeah, $6. I can't remember what it's got. It's pretty low. I'm trying to remember what I feel like Justify or Monomoy into Justify was really good. I did I remember doing let me look it up here.
Well, Midnight Bisou was in that race with
I know that was a big difference.
Yeah.
And Justify was low odds, but there was, he had a lot of doubters as well. So, you had Good Magic and you had Audible and some of those horses in there that, was it My Boy Jack we talked about the other day that took some money. So the double that year paid $16.60 for $1.
Yeah. So it was, I think, second choice with Justify, or maybe I don't remember who else was in it, but yeah.
So it paid 118 to 1, Rob, because I had suggested that one of those doubles on the Betty Bible last year. So yeah, it paid 118 to 1. So obviously two, mile long. Well, Mystic Dan was definitely a long shot, and then Torpedo was kind of a mild long shot. So that always helps. I think we'll get into it. I think you can either pound that exacta or that double and just, six. You say I'm getting 6 to 1 on those two, or 10 to 1 maybe if you're lucky, or you hope, say the one that I feel the most confident in, I'll play a couple different ones into that one. So if you were able to get Torpedo Anna home, and last year got Mystic Dan with it, that's because you would have had to have played probably gone deeper in the Derby in order to get to that ticket a little bit, unless you just singled a dumb McPeak double.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Well, another thing about last year is Torpedo Anna was not, when she went into the Oak, she wasn't a cinch by any means. So
no, not
you
at
got
all.
she helped the price. So, I mean, not as much as Mystic Dam, but she helped.
Wasn't she like maybe
I
5,
can't
6, 7 to
remember.
1 somewhere in that area?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's not like she was 6-5 like Good Cheer is going to be. So, I mean, you're talking a heavy favorite in Good Cheer, and these other comparables they weren't heavy favorites. They were shorter prices, but they weren't like this. So that's kind of the issue with why that's paying so low. Good Cheer might be 4-5 at post time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't really looked at the weather. I try not to look at the weather too much, but it does seem, looking at the forecast and based on what's come through here the last couple of days, it is seeming like we might have some rain on Derby Day. So
yeah, I had a couple people ask about picks. What about the rain with the picks? What's going to happen if it rains? That's why you got to just go into your account and look for the newest updated version, because you can't sit here Tuesday, Wednesday and prepare for rain. I mean, you just don't know. And it might rain, but it doesn't really have a factor. It might rain and has a little factor. It might rain and have a lot. We update them, but we got to wait and see what it actually is. Unfortunately, the morning of, before we can really do much with it. Now, the good news is, I think I might have like one bet early in the card. So, like, if something changes early, obviously we'll try to get it before post, obviously. But if the big changes will happen in the meat of the cards, and we'll have it updated for you by then for sure.
was there anything, I don't know what for you personally though, that like, if this horse gets in or if it does rain, I'm a little concerned, or like, is it just too early for you to even be worried about that?
Honestly, the turf races are always the worry, and it is too early for that, because I say that because you just don't know who's in and who's out on the turf. You also don't know, like, usually they're not taking those races off, right? And so then it's like, okay, who's deciding to run, but it's still turf, and it's like, wet, damp turf. So that's a hard question. I will say this, like, Good Cheer has been in the slop. It was an allowance race, but she won by 17 lengths at Churchill Downs in the slop. So, I mean, if you like Good Cheer, I don't think you're worried. And honestly, if you like journalism, I don't think you should worry either. No, he's never been in it, but he's a son of Curlin. And I think, if not his best race, one of his best races ever, talking about Curlin, was in the Breeders' Cup Classic over just the worst of the sloppy tracks you've ever seen. At Monmouth. So I don't really have a worry for the horses in the big races.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like, and this is just a point. It's not necessarily the rule, but the here Justify won, and I'm not saying that he's the next Justified, but I mean, Justified never been in the slop, and also everyone bet My Boy Jack that day because it rained all day, and everyone loved the fact that My Boy Jack would be, like, this is the slop horse, he's gonna love it, and he's still running. So I mean, sometimes, like, my point is, sometimes we go into this race, you can't just go, especially as a 3-year-old, these young 3-year-olds who have just not, most of them haven't even had the opportunity to run in that. And it doesn't mean they're going to like it or not like it. Maybe they won't, right? You don't know. Like, maybe journalism hates it. We don't know, but you can't know that and going in, and certainly, and I wouldn't. The only times I would, if you had 6 races to look at and 2 of them were in straight slop and the horses lost 2 of them, they were both in that, then you start to go, maybe that's a little bit of a concern. Maybe I back off that one a little bit, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't affect me. That's why I don't get too concerned about the weather. So yeah, same. And also, I tell the story all the time. That place is a weird place to predict what will happen. I just remember 24 hours out of our first Derby, they were like, oh, it is going to be an absolute mess here on Friday. Saturday is going to be great, but it's going to be a mess. It was one of the most beautiful days on Friday I've ever been a part of, and it rained the entire day hard on Saturday, and they kept saying, the forecast says it's going to stop at noon. It's going to stop at 1. Yeah.
It never stopped. So people like I get it. Like there's a definite chance for slop. There's also a chance it does, and it's not a slam dunk like Keeneland a few weeks ago, where it's like, yeah, it's gonna be wet. Like this is more of a scattered storms. It may play a factor, it may not. We're on kind of on the edge here.
All right, let's get into the race, guys, because obviously we can sit here and talk about the weather,
Yeah,
all evening, but at the end of the day, we'll just find out together. All right, we are talking Kentucky Oaks action on Friday. This is race number 11, the Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks, going 1 mile and 8 for the 3-year-olds, $1.5 million purse. Again, race number 11 goes off at 5:51 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. We'll see what the weather's doing, obviously, but we've got a large field, a full field of 14 horses. So you can't ask for much more, too. Like you said, 14 and 20 the next day in these two big races. And Good Cheer is your very deserving 6-5 favorite. There's a lot of talk of, it's a kind of an interesting dilemma here with her, I think, because on one hand, she's 6 for 6. She's never lost. She's never lost at Churchill, obviously. She's pretty much dominated every single time she's been on the track. She hasn't really had any kind of close win. With that said, Halterman, her numbers on from a data standpoint aren't overwhelming. In fact, some of them aren't even on the top of what someone is in this field. So it's one of those cases where you and I talked a little bit about this earlier in the week, and I said, well, is she a deserving favorite? 1,000%, but 6-5 favorite? Maybe not. I mean, just it's tough, because if you don't pick her, then who do you pick? And I think that's kind of the dilemma you have as a morning line maker in this case. She is going to be bet very hard here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you alluded that I maybe was not going to pick her. I had went to the hockey game Sunday, and so I was kind of handicapping on the way back and looking at her numbers without diving into it at all. And I thought, this is not a 6-5 horse. It's just not. I mean, and look, no matter what numbers you look at, she's very close. She's either a little ahead of them or just a little behind them. So it's not a situation where like, oh, it's impossible. No, not at all. I mean, her numbers are right there with them. But again, at 6-5, you thought, well, I don't know. That's a little odd. What changed it for me and why I ended up going with Good Cheer? It was two things. Number one, you sit down and you start to study and you go, okay, she's running similar numbers, but she's winning by 17, 4, 3, 6, 3. She's kind of letting up the last 16th of a mile. So it's one of those things like with Torpedo Anna last year when she faced the boys, everybody was like, she didn't have the numbers, but she wasn't running fast the entire time. And that's how I kind of looked at it with Good Cheer. It's like, okay, could she elevate any of her numbers, 5 points? Probably. And if she did that, what would she look like? Like 6-5. You know what I mean? So definitely. That was number one for me. I still honestly was not sold until I started to look at the pace. It just seems to me this thing sets up for Good Cheer pretty well. There's so many horses that have speed, and if they don't have speed, they're kind of right on that edge where maybe they're not at the front, but they're kind of pushing the front a little bit, right? And I just kind of looked at it and said, you know what? If she fires her best race, and I think there's a little more in the tank, I don't think they'll hold her off if this pace materializes. So, and the other big thing for me, I'm a big fan of Quiet Side. And I kind of went into it. It's like, I think that horse might be able to beat her. And I still do. But I hate the post for Quiet Side.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough for her to win from there. So again, all these things, I really didn't go into it when I was like, okay, let's get to seriously handicapping this thing. I didn't really go into it thinking Good Cheer was going to be my pick, but I just kind of kept circling back. And and at the end of the day, I did end up putting Good Cheer on top.
You alluded to it. And I mean, just going through and you look at the past performances, and at least on DRS past performances, like for Good Cheer, kind of in the notes, it's driving, drew off, cleared, ridden out, drove clear. Every time. It's not every race she's ran, Good Cheer, that is, she's extended her lead down the stretch, meaning it's not like she's got the lead and then she gets a little tired late, or looks like she's getting tired late, someone's kind of catching up to her or whatever. She moves, she continues to expand throughout the stretch, and just a horse that's ran in 5 straight mile 16th races, and going out to mile 8th now, just feels like to me a horse that is just going to absolutely love going long.
Well, theoretically, she should. And I say theoretically because you never know, right? I mean, you just don't. It's a guess until you see it happen. But the horse is by Medalladoro out of a Street Sense mare. I mean, to me, that kind of seems like we're going a little short already, right? So we need to go longer because we're kind of going short, and there's reason to think she can improve going longer for sure with that pedigree. And again, it is a pedigree that the slop will be, okay. And she's proven she could run over it as well. If you want to get to that. So yeah, I just, I was talking about this today. Class is always number one when I'm handicapping. It's like, where have they ran? Who have they beat? What caliber of race is it? And you just can't knock her. Like I'm sitting there going, I kind of like Quiet Side. Well, the last time they hooked up, she beat her and beat her easy, and it really wasn't a race. So it's like that kind of stuff trumps numbers for me. And again, I like numbers. That's probably like my second or third thing that I look at, right? But class and who they're trained by and the trainer intent and what the trainer's good at, that's kind of the factors I look at first. And it's good cheer, right? And then you look at the numbers and go, well, yeah, she can. I mean, she's competitive. She's either a little ahead or just a tiny bit behind. So, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. This is what it is. I mean, if she loses, I'm not going to sit here and be stunned. And maybe 2 weeks ago when I didn't see all the data, I thought, oh, I'll be stunned if she loses. Now it's like, hey, she could lose, but I still think she's the most likely winner.
Yeah, and plus you don't have, or you have Lee Sias on board, and you don't have Flo riding for Brad, so that's a positive as well.
Factor. It's a factor.
That's a huge factor.
I wrote in the betting Bible, this is kind of the money jockey, him or Pratt, right? It's like, yeah, that's a good sign. And not only that, look who's rode the horse every time but the maiden race, but he wasn't going to Indiana to ride her, but the next 5. Size has been on, and that tells you, hey, I've got a serious horse. Get your ass here to ride him. Ride her, I should say.
Look at her. She's a big time horse. She's from Godolphin.
Mm-hmm.
She's been the favorite, and I'm talking heavy favorite, even every time. Her debut, she was almost sub, but she was like 6-5. But other than that, she's been below even money every time. She's coming in like it's not like, oh, well, all the last race or two she started to kind of blossom. It's like, no, this has been the horse all along, and so it's going to be hard to beat her, I think. But let's kind of talk a little about that because I think if you had to sit here and say, are you more confident in journalism or her? I think I would still lean towards journalism a little bit more, and that says a lot, really, because I really like good cheer. But there is plenty of horses in here to. That's the thing that's really fun about this race is if you don't want to bet her, if you don't want to bet the price, or you just don't like her or whatever reason, there's all kinds of options here. There's no shortage of horses that are interesting. They've all had, a lot of these are coming in off the prep wins into this race and a little bit kind of on the uptick, I would say as well. The one thing that I thought was so interesting about this race, because it's kind of similar to the Derby, only flip-flopped, is if you are trying to pick a speed horse in the race, it's like the Derby, you're like, okay, if you're going to bet a closer, which closer do you like the best? Here, it's like, if you're going to bet a speed horse, or you're going to let's just say bet a horse to beat good cheer, it's probably a speed horse. And how do you figure out which one is the fastest of them? Because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah. I think at her best, Lucara is the best of the speed horses.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But that being said, she's wildly inconsistent. Now, her race last time in the Ashland, if she can do that again, well, I could see it. But again, she's going to have to show up to do that again. And I would just assume there's going to be more pressure on her. Even if it's just like, mildly more pressure, it's going to make a difference, right? So her 2 races that she's won, the race at Tampa and then the Ashland last time out, very, 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 very impressive. Talking about races this year that she's won. And then, the Devona Dale, I liked her quite a bit in that spot. And, she got beat by, the Queen's MG is not a terrible horse, but it's like, you didn't run very well that day, right? Your best effort would have won that one. So I don't know. I just worry that the rest of the pace is really going to make it tough for her. And I just worry, okay, who's actually going to be here today? Who's actually going to show up?
Yeah. Listen, the way I handicapped this race, well, let's do this. The way I handicapped this race was because I am playing other horses. I'm singling her on top of things. If you guys have gotten the betting Bible, you can see that. But I'm also playing some backups and some different options in case she were to get beat in a multitude of or a variety of ways. And the way I kind of approached that was like, well, I think she's gonna run. I just think she's the best. She's gonna run them down. But the way she gets beat, in my opinion, is she doesn't get there. One of these fast horses we're talking about stays, right? And just kind of freaks or runs a race, and she's not, she can't get there for whatever reason. And so I kind of approached this race like, all right, I like her on top for sure, but here are some of these horses I like underneath or / could win, that I think are kind of dangerous on the front end. And so there's a handful of them. And I'll be honest, the one horse I didn't use that's in that category, and this could be a bad idea, but is the 9 Tinma. I mean, who knows how to train for speed better than Bob Baffert? And here I am saying, I don't think she's fast enough. And yet she's rattled off 3 in a row and kind of drew off in those races. Help me understand why I'm not using Tinma.
Well, I think the last race, was a win, but it wasn't visually impressive.
She got, I don't know what the time form said for that race, but just as comparison, she got a 75 buyer that day in the Sandy Oaks.
Yeah, is that good?
75 buyer, for instance. Good Cheer has been running 90s.
It's very low. Yeah. The time form is very low as well. The race 2-back was pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't like her that much either. I'm with you. And again, I think it's another horse that's going to get burnt a little bit up by the pace. I thought the last race was like, I thought we would really see a really nice performance. And I thought we would see okay, she's got a shot here, but she just didn't run that well. But look, I mean, it is Baffert and it is a speed horse. And if turn for home and this horse is ahead, look out. But just by the numbers, not great. And, people like to hate on the Southern California horses on the male side of things, but it's like, well, I think there are better horses out there from the male side than the female. I don't see a lot out there, that she's beaten. So that's going to be interesting to see if she this is a definite step up for her. And that's another big problem I've got. I mean, I'm with you. I didn't play her either, so I can't talk you into her.
Well, I remember talking to Paul back when we went to Oaklawn, and we were talking about the Oaks and kind of the horses, and I just remember thinking, like, we were talking about Tinma a little bit, and it's like, he's not, Baffert's just never one of those guys that typically he's always, like you said, like the male side of the horses and the fillies. And I don't know if it's just, we have a really strong class of the boys out west typically year in, year out. And it just feels like, for the most part, now there's not, there's always that one or two every once in a while that comes along, but not necessarily, Midnight Bisou was for a little bit, but like horses that you typically find them over here, right? Whether, because a lot of times they're trained by Brad Cox or Pletcher or whatever. So I don't know why that is, and that's certainly an aspect. But I'm with you. I just don't think the competition is all that great out there. And if I'm not impressed with her, I just think it's better what we've seen from some of these horses that are coming either from Oaklawn, Keeneland, Gulfstream even. I think that's, to me, a little more interesting. And again, at the end of the day, you got to take some, you got to go on an opinion, right? You got to leave some out. That's the name of the game with the Derby and the Oaks. Yeah. You can only, for our top 4, for instance, there's only 4 horses we can pick. So some of them don't make the cut.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sometimes you like a horse and you say, yeah, I'm just not sure. And then people, are like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you can't, I just simply can't play them all. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I'll give you another horse that I've seen a little bit of steam on lately. And I don't know if it's because he won the race last year or if it's because it's kind of looks like a McPeak special type horse. And that's the 10, Take Charge, My Lady. Nice looking filly. Got second last out to the Lucara. This is another one for me personally. I mean, did beat Quiet Side 3 back, but did not show up at all in the Honeybee. When Quiet Side, rolled there and 5G was second. So what do you like? Kind of feels like a horse that could. I mean, it's that kind of horse for McPeak, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this horse shows up with a chance. She's one of them I liked a little bit. I kind of like her better than Tinma, honestly. Now she does have a foot abscess. I don't know. We haven't heard any news on it here lately, so we'll see what happens with her. With an abscess, it's a lot of how big is it, where's it at, things like that, right? So I don't really know what's going to happen there. Hopefully she gets to run, but if she does, I think she's going to be okay. She's, like I said, finished second to Lucara, finished 10th to Quiet Side in a race you draw a line through, and then, beat Quiet Side 3 races back. Other than that Honeybee, she's really been fine. So I think she's in with a shot. She was closing late on Lucara. If that race was at 1 mile and 1/8, I think Take Charge Milady would have won that one. My biggest thing is it's like, okay, if I'm going to play a closer, I don't know that she can outclose Good Cheer, and so that's where I'm at with her. And I tend to lean towards what you're thinking too. To me, if Good Cheer is going to get beat, it is going to be somebody more towards the front, not somebody that's behind her. That's why I kept going back to Quiet Side. I love this horse because out of all the speed, she can sit off of it much, much better than some of these other ones, in my opinion. And she's drawn that outside post. And I
love her, dude. I do. I mean,
I do too. And I've got her in the doubles. Can she not be wide? That's going to be the big key.
If she would have drew better, I would have really battled with it. With wanting to pick her. Here's the thing, guys. Before, maybe not before, but I would say before you had Good Cheer, it was Immersive. And of course, Immersive had the kiss of death with Kevin and I kind of jokingly drafting her this year and never was seen again. But, this was a horse that was kind of knocking boots with, not literally, with Quiet Side or with Immersive because they ran, broke the maiden, dominated, went to spin away immediately, got second to Immersive won again, and then Alcibiades the next time out. This is a classy horse, dude. Has ran in the stakes race literally every race since that maiden, whether it be grade 1s, grade 2s, grade 3s. And so, yeah, that's why you got to respect her. And she's never not hit the board in all 7 of her races, Quiet Side, that is. And so, and you look at her kind of past performances, whether it be the Immersives or the Good Cheers or the Quiet or the Simply Jokings, a lot of horses that are in this race. She's got that class level. The post sucks, but if you can use her underneath and maybe even upset this thing, possibly, I think she is. She's certainly going to be the one to beat if it's not Good Cheer. And you can make an argument too, like top the stretch. Here comes Quiet Side, right? Quiet Side is ahead of her on the jump.
Should. If it plays out the way I think Quiet Side is going to be that horse that she's going to have to run down. And you said it really well. Got beat to Immersive, got beat to Good Cheer, got beat to Take Charge Milady. Okay. You know what I mean? Those are good horses. Those are really good horses. And Immersive, obviously, the 2-year-old of the year last year, Good Cheer, 6-5 in the Oaks here, and Take Charge Milady ran a great race and beat her first out as a 3-year-old, and maybe just knocking the rust off a little bit and wasn't quite cranked up. That could be as well. So, but yeah, she's only lost the horses that are really good. Now, unfortunately, she's facing really good horses here, and so we may look up and she runs third and you go, well, hell, she lost to, Good Cheer and Lucara, or Good Cheer and Take Charge Milady. Yeah, because they're really good. So I was super impressed with her last race. Really her last 2, but the last one for sure, because Simply Joking, who's also in this field, who I'm just afraid pedigree wise and another pace horse, I just don't know if they'll make it 1 mile and 1/8. But Simply Joking simply didn't quit. Just kept fighting, and Quiet Side was able to put her away late in the fantasy. I thought she got a lot out of that race. And those horses were pretty clear of everybody else, right? So they really went a race of their own. And that's impressive when you see that. So yeah, I've like I said, I've got Quiet Side played in the Oaks Derby doubles, so I won't be too mad if she loses, or excuse me, if she wins. But a little part of me will be like, man, maybe I should have played her, because the more I handicapped, it's like I think it's a 2-horse race. Good Cheer and Quiet Side.
No, I mean, I think it's dead on. Really, I did the same thing. I I played more than just her in the doubles, but I definitely I'm using her as well, and I think it's probably wasted money in a sense. Like I kind of just used horses that were speedy horses, and also that may or may not. I mean, that have ran. Like you look at Quiet Side, finished second. Go back and the Goldenrod. These two ran 1-2 that day here at Churchill Downs. And so I liked that aspect. And there's a few others that have experience at Churchill Downs that we know handle the track. So it's kind of where I'm using those. But I do think I think she's worthy second. It's like, as much as I like Quiet Side, I'm like, well, Good Cheers beat her every time they've had to face. And I just don't see I don't know what factors are going to be at play. Cause like you said early, like the pace is just so good. If for whatever, if Good Cheer was like a gate to wire type horse, then you might start being like, well, yeah, maybe there's a lot of speed and she'll get first run on her, but man, it sets up so well for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it definitely does. And like I said, if she goes across that first turn, and I'm talking about Quiet Side, she's only a couple wide and sitting in fourth or fifth, all of a sudden that worry about the 14 hole goes away, right? And I think it's possible. I still think it's more possible she's just hung a little bit wide, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited to kind of see her run here. I will say this. I don't think you'll get 8-1 on Quiet Side. I think she's gonna be bet down, because I just think people will see what she's done and make her more like 4 or 5-1.
Do you think there's a chance that we can get some prices or a Good Cheer to float up some? Do you think it's one of the, like, where we're just like, yeah, 6-5 is probably a fair morning line, but does anybody, like, do we want to bet her at 6-5? Which obviously, if Quiet Side, for instance, is going down, then you would assume that Good Cheer's value might be going up a little bit.
I think there's a chance. Because I do think, buyer speed figures probably get bet harder than anything else, because it's the most, used figure, right? And I do think people will, when they get the past performances and they see, what is she, like just 1 point better or tied for the best buyer in the field. Mm-hmm. I do think, though, some people might look at that and go, you know what, maybe we'll try to beat her. So I still think 6-5 is probably the right number, though. It might be wishful thinking to think it's going to go higher. I don't see it going just a ton lower. 14 horses, and like I said, that speed figure isn't a big standout. So 6-5 even money, I'd say, right around in there.
So yeah, and I think you alluded to it earlier, and it's like, yeah, our speed figures aren't great, but I shouldn't say not great, but they're not huge standouts. But
right,
the way she wins the races, it's like, well, it's not like they're winning by noses and heads, But just to kind of this horse, since that debut race she won, has literally, it's kind of a weird thing, dude. Since September, this is Good Cheer I'm talking about. From September to March, her buyer speed figures have stayed within 5 points of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So 86 that day on debut, 86, 86, 89, 91. Now she's trending up, but she's not, and even Brad, I saw in an interview, like, kind of like, well, she's going to have to continue to improve, and I think she will, but you know what I mean? Like, where, for instance, like, Quiet Side got a 91, got an 86 in the Honeybee, got a 91, got a 75 in the Martha Washington. So it's a horse that's, 75, 86, 91, a little more improved there. 5G is a horse that went from 86, 84 to 90 last out. Lacara, 83, 75, 88 last out. Ballerina Doro is a little bit on the, she finished with a 79 in that Gazelle. you look at a horse like Simply Joking you talked about. This is a horse that's really got one of the better progressions in the field, an 84, an 87 to a 90 in that fantasy. So my point is there's plenty of horses just based on speed figures that she's not anywhere near a standout.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even argue that she's not improving. Now, I'm not saying that's true. I don't think that's true. But when you look at the numbers, you could say, well, she's kind of the same horse she's been since she was a 2-year-old. Maybe one of these other horses that are starting, are gonna pass her, and maybe it's here in the race.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And you mentioned Simply Joking, and that's a horse that I think has a ton of ability. I'm a little skeptical of the distance and the pace setup, and she's going to be inside of all of it, and that worries me a little bit. But yeah, I understand what you're saying for sure. And to go back to good cheer. What's that?
So the practical joke is
it's a worrisome.
It's a little hesitant on that.
The talent doesn't, though. The talent is there.
She's got it for sure. Yeah, she's nice. And again, those numbers are really nicely progressing in the right direction. It's been working out very, very well. Beat a couple that are in here now. Not some of the bigger priced horses. Did get beat, like you mentioned earlier, to Quiet Side, but that could be a situation where it's like, hey, give her one more race, and that was her first race since January. In the fantasy, so you could argue, hey, one more, and like you said, maybe she would have gotten there with a little bit more room. So you never know. I don't know. Honestly, that's just one that I just liked a few others a little more, And if she beats me, then she beats me. That's probably the one that she beats me. Actually, no, Tinma's the one, but Tinma and her certainly are the two where I'm like, if they beat me, I'm going to be a little upset with myself because I don't know how I would have gotten there based on the other ones I liked, but at the same time, I can see how I could have gotten there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
We talked a little bit about 5G, but we can discuss more in detail. Halterman 5G Gulfstream. This is a horse that I like quite a bit. I used on my underneath, and I used in some doubles, but won the Gulfstream Park Oaks last out. Drew off in very impressive fashion. Did get beat by Quiet Side in that Honeybee, but it certainly has been keeping very good running lines. What do you think of 5G? 12-1.
Yeah, another one I like. I like 5G quite a bit, but again, another one that I just think her best race comes on the lead, and there's a lot of horses you could say that about, and I just don't think all of them can stick around. I just don't. I thought her race in the Gulfstream Park Oaks was very good. I thought her race in Honeybee was excellent, and that's to that point. That's kind of why I kept going back and I really like Quiet Side because I thought 5G ran a winning race that day, and Quiet Side just beat her, right? So I thought she ran very well there, and of course, some of her other races have been good as well. So again, I've got 5G in fourth, and I just worry about the pace situation. Is it possible one of these speed horses just kind of get that lead and don't come back? Yes. And is she one of those candidates? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. One of these could get brave, or one of them or two of them could have some, Quiet Side could have issues out of the gate and doesn't get to the lead, or doesn't get it, gets further back than normal, and then you take that one out, and then one of them doesn't break well, and then all of a sudden 5G's on the lead by herself, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. And so that's my biggest concern, if we're being honest, with Tinma, right? I'm sitting there having to look at Tinma have a 2 or 3 length lead as they enter the backstretch. Like, oh shit, here we go. I need this horse to back up in a big way.
I just kind of feel like that's maybe the other thing that I should have said. I don't know that Tinma is the most likely candidate to get the lead, and I get it. Hey, you're trained by Baffert, and that's how he wins the races, and it could be a very stupid comment, but when you just kind of look at the other horses, I don't think Tinma gets the trip that she's been getting.
Well, yeah, and I talked because I was talking to Samich earlier about the Oaks, and he asked me, he's like, no Tinma, and that's what I kind of said too. I was just like, I just don't think she's faced the speed that she'll have to face here, so I don't think she's essential to even be on the lead. Now I could be wrong, but I don't think the speed she has been facing, which is kind of a rare thing to say about Baffert horses, right? Because you're just assuming that they're gonna put it to everybody. Which who knows? Like if she wins this race, we might be in for it because the Baffert contingent is pretty strong on some of these undercard races as well. So who knows how many wins? Do you think Bob Baffert, if I said it on Friday, Saturday combined, if I said 4.5, that might be too high, 3.5 wins over under, what do you got?
Oh boy.
Because you got Nysos, you've got Madcat Road, you got Tinma, you of course got the Derby. I know I'm missing one.
Goal oriented earlier in the Saturday card looks good. I would go under 3.5, but it might be 3.
Yeah, I think it's close. Nysos, I think could do it. I think Madcat Road should do it, although I don't trust him. But yeah, there's 2. Yeah, it could be 3. I don't know. Anyways, all right. So give some people some ideas, and of course, the best idea is to go to racingdudes.com and buy the betting Bible, or get it for free if you're a subscriber, and see exactly how we're going to bet this race. But maybe the people that aren't or haven't yet, or maybe just the people that aren't, into that kind of thing. What's some ideas here on how do you make money on a 6-5 favorite in a race that she definitely looks like she could and should win?
Well, I think if you don't want to take even money on her, which is kind of what I'm projecting, I totally get it. But if you still want to play her, I think you pair her up with Quiet Side. I mean, or you pair her up with like a Lacara and Quiet Side in second, and then you put a few long shots there in third. So I think that's kind of the situation you got to look at, right? Anytime you like a short price and you don't want to bet that horse to win, but you still want to play the horse, you got to go kind of short in an exacta, or you can kind of get creative with a trifecta as long as you've got a couple of long shots that you like. So I think that's what you've got to do. And like you said, go to the betting Bible and you can see how we're going to try to attack it. But, for me, like at first, like it was like, all right, I'm going to play Quiet Side to win. And then it's like, I'm not sure she's going to. And so then you had to kind of get creative. And when you have favorites, sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to get creative.
Yeah, this to me is one of my favorite types of exactas to play, and when you have some solid speed horses you like, but you have a closer or someone off the pace that you like even more, and you just play that exacta, and you either play it cold if you like just 2, meaning you play her to pass them and then they get second, right? So you key the one the winner. And that's kind of what I'm doing here on the exactas. Now, again, I'm sprinkling in all kinds of different options. That's the one thing I want to say, too, with the Oaks and the Derby, but especially the Derby. When you buy the betting Bible, the Derby and the Oaks are different monsters, and definitely the Derby, meaning I think I have close to $150 in bets listed for the Derby. I don't normally ever do that for a race. I wouldn't suggest you do that for a race, but the payouts are so good on Derby and Oaks days that you can get away with it. So I just want to make sure people understand that when you see the betting Bible. Now, every other race is normal, but for those races, I kind of, it's kind of one of those things where you're okay to throw some stuff against the wall and see if it sticks because of what these races, the double, the Oaks, the Derby can produce. And so, and I think it gives people an option to play the ones they like or the ways they like to play. But these kind of races you can always listen, it would cash, Kevin. I have no doubt that journalism is going to hit the board. It's just a matter of how. But listen, if you want to play 150, hey, the old racing dudes would have done that, Halterman.
Yeah.
500 to show on him. So
absolutely.
But hey, free money. It's never bad to have free money. But no, I really, really do like him to hit the board. The betting Bible, Adam, is over. I don't know if that's your name, but it's at Racing Dudes, racingdudes.com, and you just click the button there at the top. It says Get Racing Dudes Premium, and the betting Bible's right there. You can get it for $49.95. It includes everything on Oaks and Derby Day, or you can get it for free if you become a premium subscriber for $70 a month. And then, hey, we're going to be giving away $1,000 as one of our premium subscribers. So that Shotty tomorrow, make sure you're on the show tomorrow because we'll be announcing the 20 entries to the race. I'm almost more excited for that race than I am the actual Derby.
Oh, absolutely. I'm more excited for that one because I care about our people. So,
Of course you do. All right. So I noticed that Shoddy has like 16 different accounts now. No, that's weird. He just kept buying different subscriptions.
as long as she's giving us money, that's fine with me.
Well, true. I don't care how many you buy.
Right.
Tell your grandparents to buy one. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Halterman will help them with customer service.
Absolutely.
You're used to it, right? David,
right.
you need to do it basically by the show tomorrow. We'll pull the list probably an hour or so before the podcast, which I don't know the exact time for the podcast yet. Tomorrow will probably be afternoon. And
I was gonna say, do you have a football game tomorrow?
I have a practice tomorrow night.
Okay, so it'll be afternoon then, right?
Yeah, it'll be like noonish to 3, somewhere in that department.
Okay.
So as long as you're a subscriber by, let's just say, safely by noon tomorrow, you'll be entered, because Halterman will pull the list. I'll have the list, and then we'll do a random number generator thing where it just like gives us the top 20 out of those 600, whatever we have, and those will be the 20. And then on the next day, Derby Day, or I guess 2 days, we will. Those 20 people will be entered into the race to win the $1,000. Guys, by the way, too, we've already decided we're going to run this again. So we're going to do it again on June 1st. And so it's not, if you don't get in on this, or if you get in and you don't get your name drawn, stay in. You'll get the picks for another month. You'll get the premium picks for the Preakness and or maybe the Belmont if you're if you're still active there. And hey, you can still get in on that too. So
I would say we'll do it as long as nobody makes me mad. None of the subscribers.
Well, good luck with that. We talked about like doing like for the one in June, it'd be like 14 entries or something like that, So we kind of mimic it after each race. So
that'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun.
By the way, I wanted to point this out too. So we got a deal. We're doing a partnership for this Triple Crown season with Naira Bets, and this is a shameless plug because they're not paying us to promote on the podcast. But we will be at the Belmont this year, and listen, we kind of go where people want us to go, and they want us to be at the Belmont, and they're paying us to go to the Belmont, and also putting us up in club VIP seats with free drinks and food. So I'm like, well, hey, listen, if you want to pay us to do that, I'm all for it. So if you're going to the Belmont, hit us up. We will be schmoozing with the bigwigs.
Actually, don't hit us up because we'll be unless you're up there, don't hit us up.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
because the Belmont at Saratoga, there's not much better than that, especially when you're sitting in the clubhouse section of the. So it'll be fun. So again, though, they're shooting over like tickets. Apparently, I don't know. But Naira Bets. Hey, look at that. Naira Bets coming through. You ever get one of those? You ever had anyone pay you to go to the race before?
No. I'm trying to think when I had that escort service if I ever went to the races with somebody. No, I didn't.
I mean, I've paid women to go with me to the races, but not me. No one ever paid me to go to the races. So, it should be a hell of a time. So, but again, all right, we got to first get to the Derby and the Oaks. So, give me your final opinion here of the Oaks.
I would say today, I would say, with the Oaks, good cheer. I'm like a 5 or 6 out of 10 confidence level. Just like her quite a bit, and really like Quiet Side and Lucara as well. I think those are the 3. And then, I think the horse that is most likely to get out in front and maybe get away from that pace would be 5G. So I'd put that horse in 4th.
All right. I don't really know this answer from you, so I legitimately want to know. Confidence level wise, who are you more confident in? I kind of alluded to mine earlier. Her, or good cheer, or journalism in the Derby on Saturday.
It's such a really good question, and it's a complicated answer because of the factors of the Kentucky Derby, right?
Yeah. Well,
if it was a quote unquote normal
horse race, the Derby. Let's just say it was a normal quote unquote normal race. Like just from a pure and talent standpoint, who do you like more?
I think I like him more.
Okay.
But when you add in 20 horses and it's a Derby and one little misstep and we're screwed, I probably like Good Cheer more. But I think if the Derby had 12 horses, I think journalism.
Yeah. Which is unfortunately, and fortunately, however you want to look at it, is part of the Derby, the Derby dilemma, the situation with the Derby. The best horse doesn't win that race all that often, it seems like, anymore. And so the Oaks, obviously, it's kind of like they say the Preakness, the best horse typically wins the Preakness because it's the most kind of normal race of the three. Although this year it's not the case with the Belmont being shorter. But the point is, I think I would probably agree with that, just because from a pure everything being equal, I think it's be him. But I also think the competition is tougher for him, just based on a few of the horses in the race versus, even though the numbers suggest otherwise in the Oaks, I just think she is kind of more of a standout. Both of them don't like to lose. That's a huge factor as well. They both, she hasn't lost. He's only done it once. So I think both of them I think they're valid singles. If you want to go there, if you want to single a double and then play other options, if it gets kind of wacky, but playing that and kind of hammering that home, like my friend Kevin said, sack up a little bit and do that. That's, I think you can pick, it's hard to pick anyone much better on those 2 days. So I'm going with her as well. Good Cheer. I think this race sets up perfect for her. I think the speed will have a factor. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a little dicey later, but that's what she does. She she just grinds home and then she keeps grinding, and then next thing you know, she draws off by 3 or 4. So I think that will be kind of the case, but she's gonna have to go out there and get it done. So I do think you'll hit the top of the stretch thinking, all right, come on, come on, let's go. Mm-hmm. So I do got her on top, but I think some of these speed horses could hang around and get a piece of this thing. Definitely.
Yeah, there'll be anxious moments betting this horse for sure. I mean, every race there are, but there will be some anxious moments for sure. Yeah.
I know we'll be talking more about it tomorrow, and obviously can kind of hone in on the Oaks Derby double. But any strategy there over the years for you that you like to play? Obviously, last year was fun because you got a McPeak kind of special there with the 2. But do you like to play more just hammer it home, or if you're having to pick, it's like, hey, I want to play thin in this race versus not as thin? Which race are you going with? Any kind of strategy there?
Oh, good question again. It just depends on the year, honestly. It just depends on the year and what the each race gives us. Some years it's like one horse in the Derby, boom, that's it. That's all I need. Everything's around him. Pharaoh, Nyquist, Chrome, Justify. I don't care who's in the race, right? So it just kind of depends. And then the Oaks, some years you might think that a little bit as well. It's been a little bit while since we've had a real Oaks standout as far as like going into the race. I was super confident, but yeah, it just depends.
All right, and before we end this thing, guys, that'll be the handicapping portion of the show. But the undercard, like we mentioned, is amazing, and everything is covered in the betting Bible, including the undercard. Give me the race that you're most excited for, other than, of course, the Kentucky Oaks.
Is this just Friday?
Just Friday, yeah.
Yeah, Locked versus Fierceness for me. And then you throw in Hall of Fame and Most Wanted as well. I think that's the answer. I'm super excited to see Fierceness back. Let's not forget, he's a horse that seemingly figured it out last year. The last 3 races were just incredible. But can he keep that up? Can he keep going? Can he beat a horse that's really, really in good form? I don't know. And that's what makes that race fun. I think, Fierceness is better than Locked, but is he going to be better on Friday? That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only right answer. We have a nice sequence there. I think race 5 is solid, with Nitrogen being a pretty solid single possible. And then of course that one there. And then the next one after is the horse of the year. Torpedo Anna as she continues her run. But race 6 here is just so interesting, with Locked being what he looked like on that last race, and kind of how that looks now with Hit Show going on to do what he did, and then the running lines that he's kind of had with him. And Hall of Fame is kind of maybe slowly starting to figure it out. We'll see. But yeah, Fierceness is such an interesting horse. And you and I talked a lot about this the other day, and it's just like it's interesting. Like, you want to bet Locked because of how good he looked, but you're like, why would Pletcher decide to after all this time off, and as long as Fierceness has been off, this is the race he pointed to, still to run him against his stablemate? I don't know. I think Fierce if he shows up like he's like he ended the season, let's say, he's going to be tough to beat. So I do think we might have an opportunity here. It'll be interesting to see how he's bet. Yeah, because if Locke gets a little money, you're sitting here talking about a horse that damn near won the Classic, and you could be getting a decent price on him. A decent, relatively speaking, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think the distance, I think, favors Fierceness a little more than Locked. So there's that part of it too.
He wanted to run him in the way. Yeah, Repoli probably had a little pull on that, I would say. But the horse, we got on Saturday, we had Nisos. We had a lot of horses that are making their returns back to the track. We're just missing Sierra Leone. On these horses coming back. Otherwise you would have a bunch of horses running from the Kentucky Derby.
Where's Sierra Leone going? You have any idea? I hadn't heard anything. I don't know.
Anybody know where Sierra Leone's going?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've kind of would have expected to see him maybe in a race like this, but
yeah, such a dud last time out. I wonder if they kind of regroup, take him to New York or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He's one of those that didn't. Him losing didn't really surprise me, because I thought he probably needed one race, but yeah, going to the Churchill race later.
Oh, is he going to the Stephen Foster? Okay, yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Make sure you go to the website over at racingdudes.com and check out the Get Racing Dudes Premium button, and you can go get your hands on that Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks betting Bible that is available right now. 23 pages, covers both Friday and Saturday, every single thing you would want. John White has his picks in there as well. The John White versus AI, John White versus computer. We'll see how that goes. His top 4 plays for every race on Friday and Saturday, as well as Halter and I's as well. The whole team at racingdudes.com. Exactly. The multi-race plays, the pace setups, how we're going to play, the value, how much we want to bet on each race. And again, it's all relative to how your handicapping is and how your bankrolls are. So use those as just kind of a guide, so to speak. But that is available right now at the website at Racing Dudes. You can get it for $49.95 or absolutely for free if you're a premium subscriber. And again, you have less than 24 hours to become a premium subscriber to be automatically entered to win that $1,000 cash money on Derby morning. So go subscribe. You'll get the betting Bible for free, and wait and see tomorrow's podcast. That's on Thursday. We will have the Kentucky Derby preview, and that's when we will announce those top 20. We're on Twitter at Racing_Dudes, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Go to YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification. We are so much Derby-related content on the YouTube page, and more coming, obviously, over the next couple of days. If you haven't seen it already, go check out the John White interview, as well as the article on the website to kind of see his strike system. But, dude, the Bible's out. We've got one of 2 of the last podcasts done, and we're coming home, man. We've hit the top of the stretch. Let's finish this thing strong, man.
Dude, honestly, this is the fun part now. Everything, once the Bible gets out, that is a beast, right? And now it's just shows and making sure everybody have their products. And yeah, you got to upload your regular products in the morning and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. This is the fun part.
This is once you have the picks out, then it's like, well, now that this is like anytime you make a bet, right?
Yeah.
Like you did that part. Now let's go see how they run. So,
yeah.
And hopefully they run okay. But no, Shoddy, we try to limit it at a certain amount. 1,000 is the number. to kind of, if we have too many out there, we've done that. We've seen this in the past, actually, where the odds can be for now a day like these, it's going to be less likely, but we just try to limit it. And obviously it's a good sales pitch to try to limit your amount. That way it's not an unlimited number. And I'll tell you this, Shotty, if we can get to 1,000 of sold, and I don't care that it's the odds have changed. So
no, no,
but no, I think you're safe, but we did want to put that on there just in case. Headed to the bar, Manlow. All right. Listen, it's Derby week.
I mean,
there's no limit.
If I didn't have to work in racing, I was going there, I would be at the bar every night. Yeah. So that
sounds amazing.
It's one of those things. I can't go to the Derby because of my work. How sad is that?
But your work covers the Derby.
Yeah. My neighbor came outside. She's like, "When are you leaving for the Derby?" I was like, "Yeah, no."
That's what. Yeah, everyone I talk to is like,
do that.
They assume, like, when do you leave? You're like, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, because, and here's the thing, guys. In order to, like, the last thing I think Halter and I, we've seen it so many times firsthand. We don't want to become these little turds in the press box, like all these other lame people at the track when they go and all they do is sit in the press box and never leave, or the press area, I should say, at the Derby. And it's like we want to have fun and enjoy ourselves, but the problem is, it's like imagine whatever you guys do for work. It's like your busiest day of the year, but yet you want to go have fun at the same time. It's like, well, you got to pick one or the other.
Yep.
And sometimes, like, not sometimes, almost every time the internet sucks and your internet goes down, it's like at the track, and then say a customer needs something, or we had one year we were walking to the Derby, or maybe it was the Oaks, I don't remember, and the website crashed.
Yep.
And you're just like, well, it'd be nice to be at home dealing with this.
So, Kevin B's making fun of us. Yeah, I feel bad for you going to the Belmont. What the weird thing, I think horse racing, like fans that are in horse racing, they think like Derby, Preakness, Belmont, it's all kind of the same as far as your schedule and business. And this week is so much different than any other week of the year. Even a race like the Belmont, even if the Triple Crown's on the line, it won't be like this. This is just a totally different beast. You just can't do anything but the website.
Yeah, the Derby is an animal in itself. It's like you said, even when the Triple Crown's on the line, you don't have your random neighbor or someone you've met once texting you saying, "Hey, do you think, or who do you like to win in the Belmont?" But the Derby, you do. I mean, everybody that's anybody knows about the Derby, and who's, they've got a pick or an opinion in the Kentucky Derby. So just a different animal. And it's, again, even before I was into, like when we went to the Rebel for the first time, the only thing I knew was the Kentucky Derby because I'd seen it on TV, and I thought that was kind of the basis of it, So that's about 90% of the general public that don't follow racing. They kind of just assume it's the Derby, and that's about it, So
Yep.
Actually, there's a bunch of other races. So
the last one we went to was the Rich Strike one, and it was just like, I mean, Rich Strike happened and everything, but it's just like that was the most stressful week ever because it's like I really needed to be in the hotel room till like 4 p.m. You know what I mean? Because it was just so busy. And and that's not a complaint at all, but that's just an idea of, okay, this one we really need to stay at home. We can't go anymore.
Yeah, Rich Strike. A little piece of me died that day, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You did for sure.
Yeah, there was a part of me for sure. There's part of me is left at that track. No doubt about it. So, and unfortunately, we've seen some good times. We've seen some really bad times there. You were there. I wasn't there the year that the 30-minute DQ. I was there for Rich Strike. Thankfully, we were there. The problem is we peaked too early. We went to Justify first, and Monomoy Girl the day before. And by the way, we met Monomoy the next day and Justify the next day. And it's like, can't get any better. This, like, we went to the farms after, and it's like this Derby's amazing. Let's go every year.
Yep.
And then we learned that it was things slowly were different. So
Yes. Yeah,
dude,
for sure.
that was the weirdest for someone like. So that day I stayed home because we had a wedding to go to, and we had to go because it was like her sister's wedding. Anyways, I was watching it. I watched it on my phone. And again, it like literally went off during the ceremony. And so I'm like, I can only watch it. And like it goes, I watch it. I had Country House, and so I was like pumped that he ran well, finished second. Not a big surprise, maximum security. You're watching on your phone, you really can't. It's hard to see, you know what I mean? You can't see
Oh,
all
sure.
what happened. And
Yeah.
I turned it off. I just, put it back in my pocket,
Mhm.
thinking, well, okay, that, I watched it, good. I'll go back to it later. And then my phone, I can just feel it like going crazy, vibrating. And then all of a sudden, I think you text me or someone's like, you won the Kentucky. I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I won? Like, it was just like unbelievable. And I mean, so I was kind of out of pocket, literally. And for you to be there, I'm sure was an experience.
It was it was Slim, Magic, and I.
What
Which is
a
just
trio that is.
funny to think of. Is Magic's first and only Kentucky Derby, I think. And Slim was Magic and I were like, all right, well, we got work to do, right after the race. Let's get back. And Slim comes running up and he goes, don't leave. There will be a disqualification. He kept saying, he's like, there was major contact. We're like, okay, we'll stick around. And we looked at it and we were like, oh boy, yeah, this could be something. And you're right. It seemed like it took 3 hours, and I'll never forget, like walking back into the tunnel, almost getting hit with a bottle. I don't know if it was beer or whatever it was, but people were throwing shit after that one. That was a crazy one. I
But
believe
wasn't there a part of you the whole time that was, I assume, would have been like, yeah, but it's the Derby. Like,
Yeah,
it's not, they're not going to, like, it maybe could have been, but it's not, they're not going to.
It was surreal because people were walking by. Like I remember Norm Cassie, whose dad's horse got hit. Guy did the work of it. Or Will, he walked by us and he said, "They're not taking that horse down. You guys can go home." And he was heading back to the barn. And I think that was kind of the overall feeling. It's like, it's a Derby. They're not going to do anything. But the more you looked at it, it's like, well, yeah, I could see why they're going to do it. It makes sense. Any other race in the world, it would have been down pretty quick. And then like the other, and I think this was the biggest thing. The horses that had the worst of it weren't the ones that were going to win because of the DQ. Nothing happened at Country House.
Yeah. Right.
So you're making the Derby winner the clear second best horse in the race.
Yeah.
And I think that was hard for him.
That was, that was like the horse didn't even think he won, because he wasn't even necessarily close.
It was, that was the faces on the track were bizarre.
Yeah.
Just bizarre. Like, Bill Mott, such a classy guy. And like, he was trying to tread that line between, am I excited?
Yeah.
Or am I just kind of like, let's go get the picture and take it and get it over with? And it was weird. It was weird seeing that stuff. Saez was sick over it, obviously. Flavian Pratt was kind of like Mott, or like, it was weird. They were trying not to smile almost at times. Yeah.
I think it's different, especially if you're Pratt, because it's like, let's just say like they're nose to nose down the whole stretch, him and maximum security. And then, it's very clear like this, you know what I mean? Like if you wouldn't, they will even look at last year, like with Sierra Leone and Forever Young, and say those two battle back and forth. And, you're like, well, if it wasn't for him nailing me, we would have won. This is a case where it's like, Pratt's like, I just rode my race. Like wasn't even a part of the situation. And I didn't even get there. And yet I win. And so I'm sure with him and Mott, it's like, they both really want to win that Derby, the Derby that they deserve to win, that, they knew from the start, or from the time they hit the wire, okay, we won.
Yeah.
It wasn't quote unquote handed to us. So yeah, let's hope that this year, Sylvia, is the year that we get a little bit back to normalcy, because it's been a minute since we've had that. So,
well, and you also had this aspect to Drew.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's like everybody would, even when we didn't know that, there was a DQ or anything, or there was going to be an inquiry, I should say, Magic and I were just looking at each other like, I really cannot believe they're going to let this happen. It was like, because look, I mean, everybody that followed racing knew this guy was just a juicer. Him and Navarro both. We all knew it for years before anything happened. So
Yeah.
it was a sick feeling of, okay, yeah, they let him do it down in Florida, but he just got this horse to win the Kentucky Derby. This is kind of disgusting. And it was just a bizarre. I don't want to think about it. It was a bizarre feeling that day.
Well,
it certainly was a bizarre.
That was a weird little stretch there because I mean, I guess you can look at it and be like, you know what, like kind of like a ball don't lie situation, because it's like, well, he shouldn't have won because look what happened to him. And so it's like if we would have sit there, at least Country House and Bill Mott, I mean, it's whatever, but like you would like to have seen, Laura Will or someone that was right there that, maybe a little more legitimate contender. But yeah, I mean, looking back, especially service, like we'd have to sit there and look at Maximum Security and service and be like, oh.
Well, remember how we felt in Florida that day when he won?
Oh yeah. Oh God.
You were wanting to kick rocks at him.
Felt dirty.
I mean, we were drunk, but we were yelling at him and stuff, and like, okay, we need to leave. And then he just does it in the Derby, and it is an odd feeling because it's like it's not the horse's fault, and he's pretty good, but you don't really know how good versus what's medicated, and it was just I hated that day. I hated that day so much.
And then he gave us a big fuck you, since I guess we yelled at him that day in the paddock because we fly out to the Pennsylvania Derby to go watch him, and he scratches.
That's right.
We get stuck with watching.
I forgot about that.
Was it Probable? No. That
Probable
dummy.
was the favorite. Yeah.
Got to see who that idiot horse win. I don't even remember what his name was.
Math Wizard.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Do you remember standing in the paddock? And I liked Improbable that day quite a bit. And, it's with the scratch of Maximum Security. I was like, yeah, I think, Improbable is going to be tough. Right. And remember we're standing there and he rounded the corner and he was just soaked.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looked like he just got hosed from head to toe.
We're in
I
trouble.
looked at you, so this son of a bitch. And he was awful in that pack. He looked so bad. Remember, he broke and he fell. And
we totally, I think we were like getting on the flight, or it was damn near close to leaving when the announcement came that he was scratching. It's like, son of a bitch. We're going to go fly out there to watch that dumb race. I mean, we'd always wanted to go and see Parks, and, he'd won, quote unquote, won the Derby. And we just felt like, I think Paul and Monique were going to be out there or something. Or so we made a deal out of it. And so I'll tell you this, though, low key, obviously Vegas is the high end, but second best and not close sports betting inside casino I've ever seen at the track. Or really anywhere. That was a legit sports betting place at Parks. You wouldn't have thought that was inside based on the track. The track looked like it had seen an apocalypse or something, but once we got inside after that night betting college football and stuff, that was actually a blast. So
it was, that facility's nice once you get away from the racetrack. Listen, the racetrack was fun. I had a good time, but it needed updated for sure.
An old track, right? It was just what you.
Do you remember we were on the runway getting ready to take off when we got the text message that horse scratched?
Well, I knew it was we were on the either getting ready to board or I knew we were at the airport, but I didn't remember how close it was.
I think we had sat down and we were getting ready to go. We got and I was like, I think we can get this fucking thing stopped.
Go pop the emergency exit or something. Yeah.
I have no interest in this.
Hey, at least we got to see the Liberty Bell and eat some Philly cheesesteaks.
I was going to say, I think if we would have just done that, it would have been better.
Yeah, that was fun. Hey, it's all about memories, guys. Making memories.
Oh yes.
We'll see what memories are made this weekend at Churchill Downs. There'll be some, maybe some good, some bad, but one way or another, it will be memories. So, guys, tomorrow we'll be live again. This was just the Kentucky Oaks. Blinkers Off will be live again tomorrow afternoon doing the official Kentucky Derby Blinkers Off for 2025. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. And again, go get the betting Bible and subscribe. We will be announcing our 20 finalists for the race to $1,000. We'll be announcing that on tomorrow's show. All right, guys. Until next time, until tomorrow, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck in the Oaks.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.